I'm Rabbi Shmuley Boteach, and you're watching Taped with Rabbi Doug, which will soon be changed to Taped with Rabbi Doug as taken over by Rabbi Shmuley. This is Doug's last broadcast. This is now me. If you have me, why do you need Doug? I love Doug. He's a great guy. He's got a huge heart, but would you rather have me? Doug, don't worry. I'm your brother, man. You know I would never do that, and I love being on your show. God bless you.
We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug. We're gonna see Rabbi Doug on your TV tonight. But Daddy, I want to watch Monday Night Football.
Forget about Monday Night Football. There's no other thing we're going to watch on Monday but Rabbi Doug.
Yeah, Rabbi Doug on TV tonight. We're going to see Rabbi Doug. Oh, everybody talk about Doug.
Shalom and welcome to Taped with Rabbi Doug. We are here at AIPAC 17, and I am here with my first guest and a good friend who's been on our show many times, Rabbi Shmuley Boteach. Shalom Aleichem.
Not just your first guest, your best guest.
My best guest also. Shmuley, you have a new book out, Israel Warriors, and our audience is looking at it right now. This new book is a little bit different than your previous books. This is talking about the Jewish people, the Israelis, what's been going on for centuries and centuries and what can't go on anymore. Tell us a little bit about it and why you wrote it.
You know, it's probably the best book about Israel ever written, with the exception of the word probably. Maybe we should take that out. I wrote this book from the heart. Israel is being assailed, demonized, assaulted, delegitimized, and we have to fight back. And we can't just put Israel in the defendant's chair. We have to be on the offensive to expose the lies, the hypocrisy, the mendacity, and the reasons of our enemies. Why are they coming after us? What's their cause? And they do have a cause. You see, if the Arab dictators that surround Israel can undermine Israeli democracy by saying, oh, Israel really is a violator, then no one will put the spotlight on their human rights abuses. So all of this demonization of Israel is being done to keep Arab potentates in power so they can continue with honor killings, slaughter LGBT citizens, enact press censorship. The Arabs are the biggest losers of the demonization of Israel. So you've got to be an Israel warrior, not just for the Jewish people in Israel, but for the human family in general.
In your speech at AIPAC today, you said that Jews cannot die anymore. Israelis cannot die anymore. What did you mean by that compared to the past?
Our children are immersed in a Jewish historical narrative of tragedy and victimhood. And it's time that it became a story, which it really is, of triumph and success and prosperity and influence. So we have to be Israel warriors.
So you made another statement also. You mentioned triumph. You made another statement in your speech to the AIPAC group that saw you that the Israelis have never boasted triumph. We don't have any arches of winning wars and so on and so forth. Why is it that we don't ever boast triumph? What is your take on that?
We don't fight for glory. We fight merely to defend life. There's no tradition of an Achilles and Odysseus, and we don't have these great poems of the Iliad about people going and beheading each other for glory. We just don't do that. We only fight for defense. That's why the IDF is called the Israel Defense Forces.
What is your goal? What is your goal right now and your message to the public, to the Jewish world, to the non-Jewish world? What is your overall message to them at this point of history, at this point of what's going on with BDS and all these things, and hate and the calling in of bomb threats to JCCs and to Jewish organizations? What is the message that we're getting out right now from Shmuley Boteach?
Well, the Jewish people have to be well organized. They have to have a unified voice against hatred, both towards our people and towards other peoples. I think we should be incredibly vocal about the slaughter and genocide in Syria and not allow it. We have to be the conscience of mankind, which is what our ancient biblical mandate is. My very dear friend Elie Wiesel died on July 2nd of last year, and to his great credit, President Obama called him the conscience of the world. Elie Wiesel was a Jew who was a conscience of the world. He spoke out against hatred. He spoke out against genocide. He spoke out against mass murder. We have to continue his legacy. AIPAC is a very big weapon in that arsenal with a very strong political voice, not just for Israel and the U.S.-Israel relationship, but the values that underpin that relationship, which is democracy and human rights and freedom, the dignity of the human person and the equality of all mankind.
Very nice. Thank you so much for being on the show. Success with this book as with the others.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing your message. Rabbi Shmuley Boteach, stay with us here on Taped with Rabbi Doug.
Thank you.
AIPAC 17. I'm here with Congressman Brad Schneider of Illinois. Welcome back to the show and welcome back to Congress.
It's good to be back.
It's good to see you. Tell me, do you think that being back, that the things that you were working on before you left Congress and you've come back for, do you think you've had the opportunity to sink your teeth into those things?
We're back picking up what we left off on, working together, working across the aisle, finding ways to protect the U.S.-Israel relationship, looking ways to further progress and make sure that the United States continues to lead in the region and around the world.
What do you think with the change of guard in Congress and so on? What do you think the sanctions that AIPAC is looking at right now against Iran for doing the non-nuclear missiles that they've been shooting?
Right, the ballistic missiles.
Yeah, the ballistic missiles. What do you think about the lobbying on sanctions for that? What is your opinion?
I think we need to increase the sanctions on Iran. We need to hold them back, as the Vice President said last night. And the policy of this country has always been the policy of this country that Iran will never be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. But it's not just having the fissile material, which the JCPOA dealt with, it's making sure they don't have the delivery systems and the mechanisms to pursue their malintent around the region.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you again for being on the show. Congressman Brad Schneider of Illinois, stay with us here on Taped with Rabbi Doug in Washington.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome one of the giants of the pro-Israel community, Professor Alan Dershowitz. Professor Dershowitz, welcome back to the stage. Thank you. So we have some nice Mount Rushmore. Wow. We have some water on the stage, but I'm not sure if that's the water from air that you were talking about earlier. So let me start with a personal question. You have been a tireless advocate for many issues, but why Israel? Why did you first become passionate about Israel, and why do you spend more and more of your time right now advocating for Israel on the international stage?
Look, I grew up in Brooklyn as my classmates had numbers on their arms, and my father always said to me, your job as a Jew is to defend the underdog. And so I was a traditional liberal, and when I first started my career, everybody loved Israel. Everybody went there, worked in the kibbutzim. Israel was very popular. And so I didn't work so hard on behalf of Israel. I didn't have to. I defended people on death row. I fought for the rights of other dissidents, the civil rights. And then in the 70s, I saw things begin to turn. I saw the hard left, the Noam Chomskys, the Norman Finkelsteins, the Daniel Berrigans turn against Israel. And I said, Im ein ani li mili. If I am not for myself, who will be for me? If I am for myself alone, what am I? And so I continue to work very hard on behalf of other people's rights, but I will never, ever neglect the rights of Israel.
I was born in Brooklyn too, but a few years after you. So I want to ask a question about a topic I know many people are interested in, many people are anxious about, and that's BDS. You have seen from your perch at Harvard the rise of the BDS movement. So how has BDS evolved over time, and what can we do to help turn the tide?
First of all, don't ever call it a movement. What is a movement? A movement is something that's universal. It applies all over the world. If there were a BDS movement, it would list all the countries in the world in order of how oppressive they were and how impossible it was for people to get access to legal remedies or media remedies. Israel would be 197th on a list of 200 on any BDS movement. But BDS is directed only against Israel. It's not a movement, it's a tactic. It's an anti-Semitic tactic because it singles out only the nation state of the Jewish people. It is an anti-peace tactic because it doesn't want to see a two-state solution. Let me give you an example. The person who headed it, Barghouti, was invited to debate me at Oxford a couple of years ago on the BDS movement. You can see it on Google. But he, on YouTube, he refused to debate me because he said, I'm part of who is boycotted. I'm not an Israeli. I'm an American Jewish Zionist, just like Monticello. I was essentially boycotted. So the movement is immoral, it's against peace. It incentivizes the Palestinians not to come to the peace table because it says to them, hey, you don't have to negotiate, you don't have to bargain, you'll get a state through BDS. It won't happen. It's a false promise.
Alan Dershowitz and Monticello in concert tonight. I want to ask you about bipartisanship.
Sure.
Israel has been traditionally one of the few bipartisan issues in Washington, D.C. It is becoming more and more difficult for Democrats to work with Republicans, Republicans to work with Democrats. So how can we as a community, as a movement here, help ensure that Israel remain a bipartisan issue?
It is the first priority of AIPAC, and it's the first priority of the pro-Israel community. The trends are in the wrong direction. If you look at the Pew and other polls, they show you that younger people are less likely to be pro-Israel than older people. Liberals are less likely to be pro-Israel than conservatives. Democrats less likely than Republicans. Liberal churches less likely than conservative churches. The trends are all very dangerous. What does that mean? It means that 15 years from now, unless we can reverse these trends, the Congress people who now come to AIPAC and who are so supportive and who you do such a phenomenal job getting to support Israel will not be as pro-Israel. They will not start with the assumption that older Congress people start. It's very, very difficult. And we have to keep Israel a bipartisan issue. It means like people like me, who are liberal Democrats, have a much harder job than centrist conservatives do. I have a much harder job trying to keep the Democrats bipartisan. And I fight like heck to try to make sure that happens. As you know, I threatened to quit the Democratic Party if they were to elect Keith Ellison to be their chairman. He lost. He was still elected chairman. Why did I do that? Because here's a man who voted against Iron Dome. How do you vote against Iron Dome? You can't be pro-Israel and vote against Iron Dome. That helps civilians protect themselves against terrorist rockets. And so we have to keep fighting within the Democratic Party. Those of you who are conservatives or Republicans, keep fighting. Don't take for granted the Republican support for Israel. Remember, you have Pat Buchanan's and others like him in your midst. So you have to keep up the effort to keep the Republican Party pro-Israel. We have to keep up the effort to keep the Democratic Party pro-Israel. end result must be bipartisan support for Israel. But we have our work cut out for us. The trends are in the wrong direction. We have to reverse those trends.
My final question to you, perhaps the most important. I heard you speak in Dallas a few weeks ago, and you said something that has been stuck in my mind. I've been thinking about it, and I want you to expand on it. You said that we learned in the 1930s that having morality on our side is not enough. We need action. We need power. So you're in a conference with 18,000 people, Americans who want to take action. So give us our marching orders. What can we do to help ensure the safety and security of Israel?
Well, first of all, we have to do more. We always have to do more. If we have 18,000, we should have 30,000. You know, people say that AIPAC is the most powerful lobby in America. That's often said as an accusation. That's not an accusation. That's an aspiration. We should be the most powerful lobby in America. We should never, ever settle for being second. We have morality and justice on our side. And under the American system of justice, we should have an organization like AIPAC supporting Israel, supporting the strengthening of the American-Israeli relationship. Look, we're seeing what's happening in Congress and in Democrat-Republican disputes happening within the pro-Israel community as well. We see Zionist organizations, some of them turning right. We see other organizations that claim to be pro-Israel turning left, very far left. The great thing about AIPAC is it's an umbrella group for everybody who wants to strengthen the Israeli-American relationship. You can be right and be a member of AIPAC. You can be left and you can be a member of AIPAC. Every one of these groups should be members of AIPAC. You can still continue to support a conservative agenda or a liberal agenda, but support AIPAC. And you've got to put your money where your mouth is. You've got to support AIPAC financially. We are blessed as a people. The pro-Israel community, the Jewish community in America, we live in the best of times. The best of times economically, the best of times politically, the best of times in terms of our careers, our children going to great colleges and being very, very successful. You know, you heard recently about pamphlets talking about Jewish privilege. There's no Jewish privilege. We worked hard to earn our success. We have contributed disproportionately to the success of America. We never, ever have to apologize for our power and our influence. We simply have to make it more and greater. And if you want a biblical source, just remember the Psalms. Hashem owes li'amo yitain. God will give the Jewish people strength. Only then will God give the Jewish people peace. Jews need strength. Israel needs strength. If you want Israel to compromise, if you want Israel to move toward a two-state solution, if you want Israel to make peace with the Palestinians, there's only one way to do it, through strength. And we know that when America has Israel's back, Israel moves much more generously toward making peace. When Israel is worried about not having America's back, it obviously becomes more cautious. So if you're pro-Israel, if you're pro the American relationship with Israel, you're pro-peace. And that's so important to remember. If you're pro-Israel, you're pro-morality. And if you're pro-Israel, you must be an AIPAC activist. You must get your friends to join AIPAC. You must dig deep into your wallets and pockets and contribute to AIPAC. Today, AIPAC gets funds from many, many thousands of people around the United States. That has to increase. We have to broaden our base. Everybody has to redouble their efforts. This is the best of times. It's also the most dangerous of times. Because if we lose the America support that has been so important for Israel over the years, if we lose that support, that's as dangerous as losing a military battle. So you are on the forefront of the battle for Israel's not only survival, but being able to thrive. And if those of you here this morning understand, when I spoke about Israel's productivity, that when Israel thrives, the world benefits. No country in history has contributed so much to the world in 69 years as Israel. There is no country in history faced with the threats that Israel faces that has ever had a better record of human rights, a better record of compliance with the rule of law, more concern for civilians on the other side. Be proud to be pro-Israel, be proud to be pro-AIPAC, and be proud to be on the right side of this important issue.
You have been a hero to me, a hero to many people in this audience, and may you continue to go from strength to strength. Thank you very much.
Former Canadian Prime Minister Stephen Harper. Nice to be here. Is that unbelievable? What drives your commitment and your passion for this issue of this country? Yeah, I get that, Frank. I get that. I got that question all the time. I guess, let me begin with the sad part of that. A couple of generations ago, somebody would have asked the politicians why they didn't have that kind of support of Israel. And that's where we need to get back to. I said this, I did not take these positions that favor the state of Israel. I took positions I took because I believe them to be in the best interest of my country, of Canada. We're in a world where Israel is one of the family, in my view, family of Western democratic nations. And we have common threats, we have common interests, but particularly common threats. And I tell people, what is the difference between our values and Israel's? None. What is the difference between the threats we face? The only difference between the threats we face in Canada, you face in the United States, our allies face in Israel, is that Israel is much closer to those threats than we are. And so I believe in Prime Minister Canada, we have a very simple choice. That we stand by Israel and we stand against those threats, or we watch those threats come daily to our own shores. And that is why I believe so strongly that as Canadians and Americans, all Western countries, it is in our absolute vital interest to stand by the state of Israel. You said we refuse to be bullied. Bullied? Yeah, look, I guess what I call bullying, Frank, is this. I call it argumentation without actually using compelling arguments. And you see this all the time in international affairs and many things, where people try to convince you should read something simply because everyone else is doing it, and just peer pressure alone. And I guess I'm the kind of guy that by nature, if someone presents me with an argument and I don't agree with it, and they resort to what I call bullying, resort to kind of pressure as opposed to persuasive arguments, I tend to actually dig in more strongly. And I became more and more convinced on this issue that my position was correct. And what happened, frankly, was I noticed over time that other countries basically ceased trying to change my view on this. They knew I wasn't going to change my view. In fact, what's distressing is privately the number of leaders who agreed with my view but simply didn't want to break consensus because consensus was so important. Politics and diplomacy collide, right? What can be done, in your view, to address the anti-Israel criticisms and resolutions that churn up in these international organizations, United Nations and elsewhere? Can you offer any people in the room here, Israelis and others, any perspective and even hope about that, because it's as predictable as the sunrise? Members of the United Nations don't subscribe to what we would consider as basic human rights. It's hard to imagine how their Human Rights Council could come to decisions that we would find as democratic nations terribly pleasing. So, what is outrageous it is outrageous that, just one example, I know others know these things, it's outrageous that in the United Nations Human Rights Council, the one and only country in the world that is the subject of a permanent agenda item is Israel, one of the freest nations in the world by any standards. Yet there is virtual hero worship there of the Palestinian Authority, whose leader has had no democratic mandate in 12 years, and who rules by decree because there is no elected legislature of any kind. No outrage about that whatsoever. So, look, I don't think we can change the complexion of the United Nations, but none of that, I tell my friends here and in Canada, none of that is an excuse for Western leaders, for the leaders of our countries, not standing up for what is right and in their own interest and defending one of our most vital
We're here at AIPAC, and I'm here with Jeff Seidel, who's here from Jerusalem, visiting. So tell me what's going on with you and the student Kiruv, the movement to bring more students into study in Israel, and how's that going with you?
It's going very well, extremely well. We're still up at the Hebrew University in Tel Aviv and Ben Gurion right now, doing all our different programs with students, with Shabbat meals, or the classes, or the collegial activity classes we have, and we're getting ready to gear up for the month of May. It's a very heavy birthright month. And we're offering the young people also our scholarships to Israel, internship program we have going on for them.
So if somebody is interested in sending their child to Israel, and they want to hook up on different ideas or getting some assistance, where can they send an email to?
jseidel@jeffseidel.com. But go to my website, jeffseidel.com, for scholarships to Israel, and help them out.
All right, very good.
We don't always get back right away because we're very swamped, but we will get back to you.
All right, very good. Jeff Seidel,
Have a great conference.
here in Washington from Israel. Stay with us here on Take with Rabbi Doug. That's it for part one here at the Washington Convention Center at AIPAC 17. Remember, you can check out our website, www.tvrabbi.com, where you can also see former shows on the web. If you want to email us, info@tvrabbi.com. You won't want to miss next episode, part two, at AIPAC 17. So stay with us here on Take with Rabbi Doug. Shalom, everyone.
This is Zusha on Take with Rabbi Doug.
This has been a Taped with Rabbi Doug production.